Well, I can't help but think back to the movie Bad Santa, where
one of my favorites,
where Thornton goes, "They all can't be winners, kids. We'll do our best." But Power and Speed back. Tom is in the Las Vegas area for SEMA. Guests getting set up, and we have Fudd making a triumphant return.
Yep,
to the broadcasting studio.
The triumphant return of the Great White Dope.
Yep, I would agree with that. Not only that, it is worth pointing out, just to further anger Thomas, who was 1,000+ miles away.
Yep.
Maybe,
Hi, Tom.
Maybe 2,000. Where are you sitting, Fudd?
Oh, I'm sitting in Tom's chair, and I'm enjoying it.
That's fantastic. So, Tad, you might as well do your little spiel since Tom isn't here.
My little spiel, you say? Well, I tried to contact some...
I meant to like us on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook.
I don't know the phone number, but I would read that off.
908-751-0211. Anybody wants to call in tonight? We actually don't have a guest. We have a couple things worked out, which Tad will get on, and Tom has actually, got a couple things going in SEMA too. So this should be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Obviously, I know who Tom is now in the chat room, so that's fine.
Hi, Tom.
Go ahead, Tad. What did you accomplish? Because you were trying to get in touch with me over the weekend.
Yeah, I got to say, so anybody listening that was trying to get me to have him on too, Matt Happel, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, is trying to get on. He's got a little, is it a business or not? I don't even know. It's called Sloppy Mechanic, a website and a Facebook site.
That's been brought up to us before. A couple people that have been on, either Facebook chat or whatever any of that dumb shit is. They had brought up specifically, I guess they've got like a video channel and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, YouTube and...
But the interesting thing is apparently that's primarily 5.3s, like all the shit that we've been talking about?
I do believe so. I haven't delved into it enough to see what his exact, favorite thing is, but it's 5.3s, and he did Fox bodies, throwing a junkyard 5.3 in a Fox body, putting a turbo on it, like an eBay turbo, I assume. And he'd go so fast, they'd boot him out of the racetrack for not having a cage.
Mm-hmm.
And then, he'd sell it and he'd buy it and repeat. And he's getting good at it, obviously. He's tuning. He sells classes for tuning.
That's a worthwhile thing. So
yeah, and then...
Do you know what particular platform?
That I don't want to say because I don't know exactly if he's just Megasquirt or if he does multiple or stock ECUs if he flashes.
All right, so he is a Megasquirt guy though.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I mean, look. The guy's he's gonna call on next week, right? We've got stuff set up for next week.
Yeah, I tried to get him on tonight, but he actually has a tune going at right now. So he said I can't, but I told him, well, next week maybe we'll have you call in. We'll discuss with you and we'll make a full show if everything goes right.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Sounds like a good show.
Yeah. So we'll have him call in and we'll get the lay of the land, and then we'll get him scheduled in for a full show. That ought to be interesting. And I know some of the reservation, and I don't mean to say this badly about the guy. This is one of those things where you have to tread lightly. What we've always tried to do is present the more technical side, the more refined side. And the truth is that not everybody has that budget, I mean, and the guy sitting right here, right now, I guess this will be a nice little segue into your project.
Yeah.
You actually finally have decided to do something with a car. And what did you purchase?
I purchased a 1969 Barracuda.
So you've gone full retard and gone right to Chrysler.
Well, I mean, I wasn't looking for a Chrysler. I was actually looking for a G-body. And my buddy Jeff in Wisconsin just got sick of looking at cars for me. Mm-hmm. He's like, why don't you just buy the car I have right here?
Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, because I'm not a car guy, I had no idea. I mean, I am a car guy, but not a Chrysler car guy. I don't really classify them. I didn't know what that car looked like, but it's a smaller car. It's not a big giant car.
It's an A-body.
It's pretty much a Dart, but looks a lot better than a Dart.
With rear glass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like a fastback Dart, but prettier.
But now, the reason to bring up the economical side and the budget side, you were looking at building some kind of...
I was going to build a 496 big block.
Okay.
And, that would have been, quite a chunk of change, even with people being gentle on me for parts and stuff. And then, what was that, 3 weeks ago? you started talking to the Drag Week guys about the 5.3. And
Jason, yep.
Yep. And Tad's been talking about 5.3s since the dawn of time.
I know he, and this is
to his credit.
The Drag Week guys are not the first time I heard about this, but I heard about it from Tad.
Yeah.
So it kind of like went in and bounced around a little bit and floated back out the other ear. I'm like, all right, Tad. I kind of chalked it up to Tad weirdness. But obviously this does function.
Yeah, no, and it clicked for me. Like, I mean, Christ, I mean, how many 5.3s do you have to buy? Like, if I bought 25 3s, I still couldn't come up with the same amount of cost as a 496.
And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, as somebody on a budget.
Yeah, no, and I'm certainly on a budget.
And God, it would be one thing if you decided, hey, look, I'm going to build an LS of some type. I mean, they are still a small block Chevy price wise.
Yeah.
Once you go past the land of normalcy and get in a Chrysler, if you're going to buy heads or anything that is not an interchangeable component, they don't make as many because they're not as popular and the prices just get ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I mean, even like I said, even with people being nice to me on, parts and stuff, it was still going to be a chunk of change. And, you had the guy with the marquee wagon, Jason.
Yep, Jason.
And that clicked, and I researched more, and then the tuner was on, James. I'm so bad with names, and I apologize. But, these guys really started to, make me think and look and research and like, hell yeah. No, my buddy Jeff in Wisconsin, who's a Chrysler guy, been a Chrysler guy since, he was born. Yeah.
Umbilical cord accident? Or was it? Just checking.
Yeah. He's going to have to live with, okay, you're going to put a 5.3 in a 69 Barracuda with a big ass turbo and Holley fuel injection.
They sell the K-frames to do it, so.
The K-frame we have is a small block Mopar tubular K-frame from QA1.
Right,
so we're going to have to do a little adapting.
But still, overall, it makes your project financially possible.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that, are going to cost a chunk, but they're attainable. The motor was actually the most expensive thing. Now the most expensive thing I'm looking at is a trans.
Yeah, probably transmission.
Yeah. And it's funny. I mean, it's like a big weight off your shoulders. Like, damn, this is attainable.
Didn't we discuss that last week? And it was $20,000 for the right trans?
No, that was his car.
No, it's not even my car.
No, that was the good 400, turbo 400.
Yeah, but that's 400 for like, probably 4,000 horsepower, like Pro Boost car or some shit. That's not what Fudd's doing or what anybody would do trying to run Drag Week.
Going on ATI's website, like, what did I say? $4,300, with the good case, a trans brake and a pro-built thing, list.
And it's new.
Brandy new.
No, like scurrying around to find one or anything. I mean, that's fantastic.
No, and in particular in a Barracuda, an A-body Chrysler, I don't have a ton of room in the tunnel. I think if I had to run a shield, I'd probably have to cut some of the floor out.
Oh yeah, and with this trans, one of the benefits, no shield.
Yeah,
that is a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I mean, I think even you said it the other night. Like, this is starting to sound like a reasonable car.
Yeah, I mean, it really, if you're on a budget, I think after what Jason did, and those guys down there, I've asked them a ton of questions. They've been helpful. I mean, whatever you need. I mean, just great people.
Yeah,
just makes me wish I didn't live here. I live down there. Fantastic, all of them.
No, and hopefully the tuner is listening, because there's going to be a guy from Jersey going to be asking about tuning a 5.3 in a Barracuda. That's me.
Well, I mean, I don't know how that guy functions. He is a tuner for hire, so he could probably get him to come here with all the money he saved on the motor.
Okay, didn't he say he does email tunes or no?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I'm sure it can work, but that's not something that I want to try.
I've saved enough money on the motor. I can certainly find a way to get the guy to tune the thing.
Well, I mean, you should pay attention next week, because I guess Sloppy Mechanics guy will come on, and we'll get the lay of the land, and then we'll get him scheduled after we figure out more about the guy, what he wants to talk about, and where we go from there.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been enthused since I decided to buy the Barracuda. I have not been more enthused at all. I mean, it is very, very.
I'm mildly interested because when it was a Chrysler, my interest was at a 0.
Oh, I understand that, but the 5.3 and making it really fast and within my budget. I mean, the enthusiasm level is
not only
like
that,
11 and a half.
You were straight into retard land. You're talking about tunnel ram and all kinds of stuff, and it wasn't even going to be a turbocharger. The thing would run like dog shit if you were going to try to drive it anywhere.
It wasn't a tunnel ram. It was this weird cross ram thing, which is good for power and all, and I don't know how it drives.
But I'm glad you changed your mind because it makes me think that maybe there is a little hope for
that's thanks to power and speed.
As you should. As everyone should. So yeah, that'll be a good thing to talk about next week. Now, apparently at some point, Thomas, who was busy pounding away on his keyboard in the chat room, he will be calling in.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I'm not looking at the chat room now because I'm sure Tom is giving me a rash of shit.
Yeah, it would probably be beneficial if you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Tom.
So he's going to call in, and we're going to talk about probably a couple of things he's getting set up, and the next couple shows should be pretty good. I want to talk about something insanely stupid that has absolutely nothing to do with performance.
Yes.
I know what this is.
Look, everybody that's a car guy has gone up and down the aisles of an Advanced Auto Parts, and they're going to clean their car, and they're looking at this wax and this applicator, and they're dicking around with this. And
you go to the mother's website. What do I use to clean this and that?
Yeah. So this started... I hate to even say this. This started because of my tractor. I have a New Holland tractor that had spent a chunk of its life outside before I bought it. So the hood was like all chalky and crappy. Now, I'm not a body guy, but I understand, the processes. I have painted cars before. So I went to Napa and I got myself a, 2000 sandpaper pack and figured I'd wet sand the thing and I'd try to bring it up. And sure enough, came up great. But it was a lot of fucking work, doing it by hand. Now, and
it's not a big tractor. It's not like there's a lot of surface area.
No, it's not. I don't want people to think it's a lawnmower. It's a tractor. The back tires are like 5 feet tall. Yeah. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's not huge amount of surface to work with.
Farmer Mike.
Yeah, I love it. So I was very pleased with how it came out, and I started looking. I said, well, I need a wheel polisher, and I have very little patience, if nobody's noticed that.
Oh, no. Really?
Yes. Very little. So to use a wheel polisher is tough, and you have to be somewhat skilled. Now, I ran across something that I didn't know was actually produced, but I actually used it 100 years ago when John and I worked at a body shop. Well, it wasn't a body shop. It was a detailing shop called Tidy Car.
You and John worked together?
Yes, and it was quite a circus. Quite a circus.
I can only imagine.
But they had these polishers, and they were made by a company, Cyclo. CYCLO, I guess is how it's spelled. I should really know the name, although they're not paying us, so the hell with them. The thing, it's got 2 small pads, 2 orbital pads. It's a variable speed, so you just ramp it in. The thing is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And because it's orbital, it's almost impossible to hurt something. I think you'd have to make a conscious effort to hurt the thing. So I figured, I hit the hood of the tractor, and the tractor came right up. And I'm looking over at the Excursion. I'm like, Now, I know it's kind of polishing a turd, but I had to see. So I took a microfiber towel, wet it, just with like water out of the water cooler, wiped it down, didn't even wash it, and picked up some kind of crap compound or something from McGuire's or something like that. It's like their pro grade stuff, but it's like a light cutting thing. Squeezed it on the pads like they told you to. So I bought one. Mm-hmm. Squeezed it on the pad like the back and forth on the hood. And I sent you guys the pictures.
Oh yeah.
And
it looks good.
Insane.
How old is that truck though?
2002.
Jeez.
And I don't think it's ever been waxed.
Oh, I'm sure not.
I don't think. I mean, maybe when we first got it.
No, it's a truck that was meant to, tow a trailer around. I mean, it was never, something that was meant to look pretty.
Yep.
But no, the picture, in fact, that should go on the Facebook. The stuff you've polished on that actually looks amazingly good.
And it took not much effort at all. Okay. I mean, but
there's a whole lot more truck, Mike.
Yes. So far I have done the entire hood because it was one thing when I did around one body line, just like one flat of the hood behind the headlight, just to see how it looked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did half the hood, and I was like, well, fuck, I can't stop here. So I had to do the whole hood. But I didn't even get into like applying any kind of polish or shiny stuff. This is just the compound and then wiped off.
Yeah, just knocking it back to what's still shiny.
So the only reason I'm bringing this up is that so many times you get stuff and it sucks.
Yeah. No, we've all been there. I mean, we're all continuously there, it seems like.
I have fallen victim to the Ryobi big stupid like 9-inch pad, hold it in two hands, orbital buffer, and it doesn't do dick. You know, this thing really works. So I would tell people that if you're really a nut that wants to keep your car clean, go look at this thing because it works. There's all different pads and they give you a whole chart. The pads are color coded depending on what you want to do. Oh, and by the way, neat little thing that I didn't know until today. They actually have carpet cleaning pads that go on it. They're little bristles.
Oh, no shit.
So you could scrub your carpets. I mean, it's really a very all-purpose thing.
I've got kids and cats, and I spill coffee, and like, yeah, no, that sounds good. I may borrow it.
They've got that. They've got stuff to polish glass. You know, to polish the windshields.
I think we spoke about that. Like, you know, my wife's car is a 2008, but like, holy crap! No matter how clean you keep the windshield, it's just sandblasted. It looks like shit.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff. I don't know if everybody's quite as crazy as I am, but this thing,
nobody is as crazy as you are.
I bought this on Amazon. It was $360. Company's been around something like 30 years or some shit. And they're all over the internet, like people that detail with them there's videos on how they work and everything. And it's a nice piece. You know what I mean? This isn't some piece of shit that came from China. This is a nice piece.
No, and I think we've talked about that before. You know, anytime you put a good tool in someone's hand, it just is rewarding. You pick it up, it's got weight, it works.
Yeah, I mean, this has
tools are just a great way in.
A big honking straight cut gearbox on. It's a little noisy, but twin pads. It's heavy. I mean, the thing's really good.
Anyway,
I think Tom is going to have a talking to when he returns.
I'm glad I can't see it.
No, you'd be very glad you can't see it. So anybody, if you're looking for something, I bought it on Amazon. It was $349 or some shit with Amazon Prime, and it showed up here in one day. Pads all over the place. You can buy whatever pads you want, that are made to go with the thing. There's a million different manufacturers of them, and honestly, for that amount of money, even if you're just putting wax on, you might want to take a look at this thing because it's pretty badass, and you can't fuck anything up. That's the nice thing.
No, that's always the thing that's bothered me about polishing. I mean, like, oh yeah, you burn through a corner, repaint the car. Damn.
Yeah, no, I really don't. I mean, I'm not going to say for sure, like maybe if you had a really aggressive compound, but I know what it was like to get the pads hot, like in a rotary polisher, but you kind of can't do that. It's pretty good. So check them out, Cyclo. So
not a paid advertisement.
Not a paid
Mike's
advertisement.
Just a fan.
Just a Mike endorsement.
Oh, Mike's going to give up on the electronic selling world and start his new career
as a car detailer. Not likely.
Yeah, no.
Considering it took me forever just to get past
one tool does it all.
One section. Yeah, I mean to get the hood done. Yeah, I'll pass. Let's see what else we got here. Fudd, you had a interesting thing you brought up to me today, and I did see it posted on my Facebook from a listener. On the brief times that I actually go on the Facebook. What is this grudge show?
Well, it's grudge show.
Is that what it's called?
I think that's actually what it's called. And it's on NBC Sports. And it's brought to you by the same people that used to do the Pinks and the Pinks All Out. Holy crap. What a waste of time, effort, just a complete tool talking, trying to set up something. Like a grudge race is good enough. You don't need to, interject with, do you know how they choose lanes? They have a porta-tree.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we can flip for lanes. We can negotiate lanes. You're going to go to a porta-tree?
So what happens? The guys fight it out on a porta-tree to see who's got the best reaction time to pick a lane?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's the beginning.
Normally I would question because your judgment and many things that I've noticed.
I'm sketchy, we know. But like, holy crap. It is, I mean, it's actually, I think, worse than the original Pink show. I actually like Pink's All Out.
I like
that. Well, the original Pink's show, I it seemed a little.
Come on, your Honda getting like an eight length lead and
yeah, I need 40
and a
links.
jump.
The problem with all this stuff is that the thing that would interest people in grudge racing is probably the stuff that goes on before the race, and a lot of what goes on before the race probably is not suitable for television.
Correct.
So, I mean, now again, this kind of works with the Street Outlaws thing. What they did is they took the stories behind the racers and made that the show, and the racing is only, a few seconds.
Yeah.
But being around, the street race scene, I can tell you that even when we went to the spot in the woods in South Jersey, that it's exactly like it ever was. And I don't think you could show half of that on TV. You really couldn't.
It would be challenging.
Now, is this, you think, a legitimate illegal thing?
No, they're at a drag strip. Okay. Mike just rolled his eyes.
But I mean, this is
a lot of grudge racing happens at a drag strip.
I know
now.
a lot of grudge racing happens, but you see, the problem is I don't know how many people are going to watch this. And I'm not trying to knock it. It might be the greatest show in the world. You don't like it, which automatically gives it a good chance that it's okay. But I would like to think that somebody would be able to find a way to tie this together and make it on-air friendly.
I was really enthused when Murillo was doing what was that, House of Grudge?
Perfect fucking thing here. Chris said, take the game show out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, take the game. This is not,
No, it's I mean, literally, fast forward. Okay, that was a good run. Fast forward. Okay, that was a good run. Like, I don't want to hear the guy talk. I don't want to hear all of this shit they add in. Because it's not grudge racing. It's a game show with a couple of loud cars. It's terrible.
So they're racing car polishers next week.
Got a guy on hold here. Let me see who this is here. So that'd be interesting.
Okay.
Yo, buddy, you're on the air.
Yeah, I got a question for that boy that's new on the show. Well, kind of old, but new.
Yes, sir.
I asked him about a turbo a while back, and he ain't still gave me an answer to that thing.
I thought I did. No, because I know Tom. I know I went over it with Tom.
But you didn't tell me nothing. I've been waiting for about it could have been around a year and a half, 2 years now.
Okay.
Right.
Do you really want to ask the question again?
No, I don't. I just
You just want to break my stones, and that's okay. Hey,
no, I just
that's what they're there for.
Because I ended up going nitrous.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little pissed off because you never got back.
I apologize for that.
You owe me a motor. But you know what could make it up? You know what'll make it up? How's that swing set going?
Oh, great.
My daughter is still breaking my stones because she wants me to add a couple of things that I don't want to add to it. So technically, it is not done.
Holy Christ. I'm pretty sure I know who this is, but well done, buddy. Well done.
I was applauding.
Y'all have a good night. I'm doing some beers to pass out to some kids. All right.
See ya.
Happy Halloween, man.
Oh, that was perfect. How's that swing set? Holy fuck. You didn't think you were going to come back here and...
No. I knew exactly what I was walking into.
Oh, boy. I know exactly who that was, too. That's pretty good. Pass some beers out to some kids. So, all right. Well, we covered the grudge race show. You had I'll call it an F1 story.
Well, yeah, no.
Because the only thing that I do is I turn on F1 when I want to take a nap. Because it is the most boring form of racing I have ever seen in my entire life. I would rather watch lawnmower racing than the F1 guy.
Well, you did watch
lawnmower
dirt track.
racing is actually pretty good.
But anything compared to F1 racing is pretty good.
I'll bring you something up about that later, but
No, I mean, Formula One was in Mexico City, and I just thought it was kind of funny. There's a German guy, Vettel, Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah.
He's been a 4-time champion, and he lost his shit. And, he's a German guy, and he is so good at swearing in English. and he told the race director to fuck off.
Well, that's the
over
first
radio.
thing. Anybody from any other country, the first thing they would learn is our curse words, isn't it?
Well, I mean, like I said to Mike, anytime I've heard a German lose their shit, it sounds like a Hitler speech. But no, this guy has mastered swearing in English. He told the race director to fuck off twice.
Now, did that get over the air?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, he got bleeped, but you knew exactly what he was.
So they did still bleep it.
Oh, they I'm sure there's a delay.
Yeah, there's still
but
a
I'm sure the
delay.
race director heard it, and he was not exactly happy.
Well, I mean, that's part
Well,
of
what, he got a $10,000 fine now or something like that?
No, he got charged with erratic driving.
Yeah, see, that's a part of, like, see, that's another perfect example of the Formula One guys. Part of racing in general is voicing your displeasure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that happens at every juncture of every type of racing. I'm kind of surprised that they would do something like actually penalize spots for that. But hey, whatever. I just can't watch Formula One. And like you had brought up NASCAR, I don't even know what the fuck's going on with them. I don't think
They're turning left a lot.
I know that, Dad. Thank you. I don't think I've watched NASCAR from Christ, probably right around the time that Earnhardt Sr. died. I mean, I just really haven't.
I generally watch, Daytona, Talladega, and Bristol. And they're just fun to watch. Is Daytona and Talladega good racing? No.
Bristol's fun to watch. Talladega, everybody watches for the same thing. They watch for the crash. That's what 90% of the people watch for.
Well,
Because
I mean,
is the most boring Look, if you find Talladega interesting, it's because you can sit there and watch those stupid-ass Formula One cars go around.
That's actually where I was going to go with it. I mean, I like there is a very subtle, action to it.
I can fix NASCAR.
Uh-oh.
Take all the air out of the car, put hard tires on them, and send them on their way.
Like an Enduro?
Well, like I was saying, like I've always said, take the wings off. Just like, you have to hit the brakes in the corner. That would work. That's just me. I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, just not a big fan. So, and I guess the only other FUD news here is NHRA.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a report? We're trying to use you as the news guy here.
Okay, that's great.
Because what that means is I don't have to think.
We have somebody saying leave NASCAR alone.
Who?
That's Jeff.
Oh God.
Sorry. I mean, it's a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon if you're doing something else.
Here's somebody that said Vettel was penalized 10 seconds for blocking whilst braking. Are you serious?
Oh, Jeff's back.
Yeah, apparently you're not allowed to move when you finally hit the brakes. You're not allowed to move. I think he was penalized because he told the race director to fuck off a couple of times.
Yeah, but I mean, are you saying that like when you're slowing down for a corner, you can't laterally move?
That is apparently a rule. I was reading that earlier and like, okay, but it's a turn.
Look, I'll give you guys, the Formula One guys, the technology side, amazing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, what it's proven is that the technology makes the racing suck because it is just terrible. Now, I mean,
there are tracks that are really, really good racing, and there are tracks that are really, really boring. I will fully grant that. The track in Austin, Texas, what a great race that was.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What was the spread between first through fifth? How many seconds?
At Mexico City or Austin?
Oh, well, take your pick.
Okay. Probably 15, 20 seconds at Mexico City.
That's a nail biter, boy, let me tell you.
Well, the ending is the ending. The story up to it. It was really good racing.
Mike doesn't believe so, but
that's fine. I mean, you don't have to enjoy it. I've watched it for 25, 30 years now.
And you still do?
I still do.
I do too, so it's 2 against 1 here.
Do you really watch it?
Well, not anymore since I don't get fucking sports channels, but
He's
got to get on the PlayStation View.
Yeah, he should. He really should. We told him that, but he doesn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Alan, if you're happy with it.
I'm the guy that wakes up at 3 a.m. to watch the Malaysian Grand Prix. Yes, that's me.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something more interesting.
Okay.
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Everybody bow.
It looks like the determination has been made that the car that Tom and I are going to get involved with for Drag Week will be my 2005 Corvette.
You found the money for the trans?
No, not so much that.
Or the fly-by-wire?
Howard from Redline is going to help out with this.
Mm-hmm.
He has some componentry already, which will be nice.
I've wanted to cut up one of your cars for a while. I think it's a good idea.
Tim from Coast Chassis, and I think that whole plan is set together. So the two, and I mean, Tim, I can't say enough good things about him. I've said it.
Without a doubt.
I've said it, before we ever had him on the show. His workmanship is incredible. Just there is nobody that I would bring a car to, and even some people up here is like, you don't have to go all the way to him. There's people up here that can do it, and I was like, no. It's not where I'm going to go.
You find someone you trust, respect, and you go.
He does fantastic work.
And
so
I'm all for Coast.
Mike has an excuse to go to Florida now, so.
Well, I like Florida. I like Florida in like February. I don't want to go in like August.
No, I'll just get the car down there. But I did talk to him about it. We're on the same page. So certified cage to do what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mini tub in the back, chute mount, I guess is going to be required because this is.
Yeah, Jeff gave me a rash of shit about the chute mount.
So it sounds like to me, the things that I was concerned about the driveline area, partially talking to ATI and talking to Howard.
Mm-hmm.
I know what has to be done there and it's within reason.
Is the car legal for drag week or no?
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah,
somebody on there say no vets, or you said.
No. I looked at the rules. I forget
if there's no fucking Corvette, somebody better tell me before I start doing some shit.
No, I looked at the rules. I don't remember a no vet thing. It was. Oh Christ! I don't remember the class. I mean, so. I have, the stay-at-home dad brain. I don't remember any of this shit. But you were.
Do you really want to bring that up? Holy shit!
But yeah, no, you fit into. The same class I would.
Stay-at-home dad. I don't think there's any class that I fit into that.
No, car-wise for drag week. Because, if my car is moving forward when they're accepting applications, I'm going to apply.
No yellow vets are allowed.
Well, yeah. I mean, seriously, I didn't think there was anything.
I didn't see anything about Corvettes.
And there's nothing that says no two-seaters or anything or anything like that, is there?
I think we're completely cool with your car. Okay. Tad is just
somebody said that last week.
Hang on, we have a live caller from Las Vegas.
Hello, Tom.
Tom?
Bueller?
It is so off the rails.
Sorry?
I would be crucifying somebody right now.
I understand that. That's why I'm here, because you're not.
Oh!
He is sitting in your seat, Thomas. But this is your fault. I think what we need to do...
Amazing.
What we need to do is we need to get Trip Manley on the phone to explain to him that you're a little more valuable here than perhaps at SEMA.
No, he's probably a lot more valuable at SEMA.
Can I review a couple of points?
Sure. Oh, Christ.
Is it really possible that there are 15 seconds between cars in a Formula One race?
Yeah.
I believe that I don't know if it could be 15, but it's nothing. It could be probably every bit of 10. I've watched them.
First and last place.
First and fifth. Yeah.
The worst thing is sometimes how many cars do you have finish? How many cars are there for that matter?
22.
They actually get that many? Because I've seen these things where there's like 4 on a track.
Yeah, no, that's usually when they
showing the 4
get all
liters.
wrecked out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
No, I like Formula One. It's not for everybody. I'm not professing it to be the ultimate.
No
vets allowed.
Comment?
Okay, item number 2.
Oh, Christ.
Fudd?
Yes, sir.
When Mike said he finally, I guess, drilled down or decided what car you're doing for drag week, he didn't say me and Fudd.
No, I understand that.
Okay, but you said I can't wait to cut up one of your cars.
No,
if you're there, you're going to meet the Manly Bat.
That's fine, Tom.
We do have a Manly Bat in the garage. We do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to take.
No, I've been.
Well, anyway,
go ahead. Keep going.
So I'm in Vegas. I'm at the SEMA show, and I guess I just read on our chat in Facebook that the guy from Sloppy Mechanic is going to be out here.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Did I read that right, Tad?
What?
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
Thank you, Ted.
Frickin' Mixler. I'm not listening.
That's where the chat would be.
Well, no, it's actually on our Facebook page.
Oh, Facebook chat. Okay.
He replied back to somebody, and I think he said he was going to look me up here, or he's on his way out here or something. So maybe I'll get a chance to chat with him out here and pregame a little bit for next week.
Tad's looking at me like, do you ever see like when you make a funny noise and a dog looks at you and turns his head? That's exactly what Tad just did. His headphones just about fell off. Tad said,
I can imagine that.
Yes, yeah. Tad said the guy is tuning a car. But I listen. I pushed the buttons. Okay, I don't know what the hell. It was amazing that Tad actually called and had something for the show, and I knew it had to be important because he called me like 2 or 3 times and I didn't answer. So
so everybody out there knows I tried. So.
Yeah, Tad gets an A for effort. I mean, Tad, you started this mess. You know, you can put it together with the guy and see what happens.
Oh, I'm trying.
I mean, Tom, what do you think? I think it'd be good to have the guy on because it represents another side of this. Not everybody can do things the way that they'd like to.
Sounds like it's going to be good. Yeah, I know. I mean, you're right. Everybody can't afford what Mike can afford. And, there are people like
Jeff Chang can.
Well, he said he's all F1 because he has the McLaren.
Yeah, whatever.
Jeff can.
Ninja.
No, all kidding aside, I think it will be good. You know, the guy, everybody in the chat room thinks that he's going to be good. So who are we to
yeah, no, I mean, my car is going to wind up closer to that than what Mike's going to build.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do some things to this particular motor to make it probably a little, I don't want to even use the word more reliable because they've proven they've been pretty reliable. But I mean, I mentally, and I'm sure Tom is exactly the same way, I could not possibly live with myself and do what Jason did and pull pistons out, re-gap rings, put them back on. It would be a complete disaster. I would be cleaning the pistons for 3 weeks. I couldn't do that.
I can see the twitch that you would have if you had to do that.
Because when you grew up and you were...
No, I mean, and we're not going to knock that.
I was raised that everything had to be done a certain way. That's how I learned this. And I don't think I can't do, and I'm not knocking anybody, but I can't do the gas station type work. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think we should probably do, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think we're going to do some stuff, not crazy stuff, but we're going to do some stuff just because we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do some stuff to the pistons because we can. And we'll lighten some stuff up because we can.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I couldn't take rings off a piston and gap them and put them back in. I mean, hats off to those guys because that takes a set.
You know what it is?
I'm with you, Mike. I couldn't do that.
And there were times, I can't tell you how many times this has happened. I can think of a couple times where there was a very strange problem with the block. I think it was John's motor. Ironically, John.
John again.
But the thing like burned up main bearings like 3 times in a row on a dyno. Couldn't figure out why. Well, we took that thing apart and it made me nuts taking the pistons out. I mean, when I tell you that this thing, we put it on the dyno, make a couple pulls, the oil pressure go away. And I mean, the oil temperature didn't come up or anything. It was very strange what was going on. We changed.
Moroso pump that Fudd worked on?
No, it wasn't a Moroso pump. Alan's in the clear on that one. That it ended up being a very strange block story because that block had broken and was previously repaired, and we did find it. But I had to take that motor apart 2 or 3 times in the course of like 2 weeks because we were trying to get ready for something. And I mean, this thing just had dyno time on it. And I take the pistons out and I put them back in and I would cringe every time I do it because the whole like procedure and order of events is fucked. Like everything, the way you would do it, the system you would do it is all out the window. I can't do it. So yeah, we'll just make this one a little better. But Tom and I were actually a little bit at odds because I didn't want to do certain things he did because I didn't want to fuck with the motor. I like the fact that it seems very structurally sound.
I agree. I mean, these guys have a program that is working, and I'm not too much of a snob to copy it. Throwing a little more stroke and this and that and the other is great, but these guys have a program that is working.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. It's just dumb luck or whatever. But, hey.
Tom, comment?
He's too busy giggling.
I'm just wondering which guys. You're saying these guys, like them. Like, who are they?
Well, no, he's saying that the guys that run these particular motors, they put them through their paces kind of as they are. There's a guy in there saying that he gapped rings with a with an angle grinder. I could.
Awesome.
I just.
Awesome.
I mean, hats off to you.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah. We couldn't do it, but hell, I remember back in the day when I worked for another place many years ago.
Was that the place you were a real douchebag?
Yeah, even worse than I am now.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Be possible, right?
Yep.
And I had a V8 Vega, and I went and bought a 400 small block at the junkyard and took the whole thing apart and did what those guys said. And I mean, we scotch-brightted bearings, and I didn't put more gap in the rings. I just cleaned everything. Took the heads apart, cleaned the backside of the valves, lapped them, and put the thing back in. And I mean, it was a bone stock motor. It lasted for over a year. I mean, I used to buy and sell cars, so I never had anything real long. But, the V8 Vega, I went 12-1, drove it all the time. It was fun. And same thing. So that's off to them guys.
And
I think we're at a little better place now, and we could just do a couple of little things.
yeah, and I don't think that point. I mean, honestly, as much as I'd like to pick on Fuddley over here, for him, Tom, I mean, you know as well as I do, if you're going to build a Chrysler, you better have some money because everything's going to cost you more. Everything's stupid.
Yep.
You got to buy heads from. Weren't you talking about getting Fudd actually indie cylinder heads like their castings?
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be cheap.
No.
I mean, how many people buy those fucking things? I mean, and I'm not saying they don't do a good business. I don't mean that at all. I just mean the sheer numbers of people that would buy those heads compared to
small block
or
LS,
big block, yeah.
big block. No, it's a very small number, and yes, it does drive up the cost of just the raw parts.
I will go on record that I have told everyone, Tom included, that if you were building a Chrysler, I always said I don't ever think the car would ever be remotely done. I don't think it'd ever be finished. I don't think it ever would have got finished because money would have been a problem.
Yeah, I don't disagree. If I had to pay the full boat on the motor, that would have been a real issue.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What do you do? You put a turbo on this thing?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you'd help me out with a turbo, but yeah, a single turbo 5.3. Pretty much exactly like the Marquis wagon.
Okay. But you're not going to have an intercooler because that.
No, I'm going to use an intercooler, Tom. Even if I use E85, I'm copying this guy's deal precisely.
Okay.
It's no original thought. I'm copying what this guy is doing because...
Well, it is from you.
Yeah. Put it back together. Are you going to balance the rod bolts?
Probably.
That's a legitimate question.
No, I'll move them around just so they all look pretty.
I'd love to tell the rod bolt story, but you're sitting here, and I don't think I have the balls to.
We could do it. Somebody will ask on chat next week, and we'll tell it next.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Well, listen, Bud, thanks for filling in. I'm not gonna beat you up anymore. I would much rather do that in person.
Thanks, Tom.
But I'm going to sign off, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Well, I'll talk to you, Mike, because we got to talk about Hillary Clinton later.
Oh boy.
But how's your people doing?
Hysterical. It's like the Beatles, but with retards.
Yeah, I got that text. I thought it was funny.
Hey, I got a shout out just to one guy too. Chris in the chat room he's hilarious. I mean, I don't know if you guys were Fudd. You can't see it, but he said something about that the Grudge Race show. It's going to die with fire.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could use that because die with fire is actually pretty funny. Anyway, all right. Well, I'm signing off. You guys, good job, and
have a good show.
Yeah. When does the actual show start out there?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow starts. You're all set up, and you're going to talk to the individual that we mentioned earlier about when works.
Yeah, he's right behind me. They're right behind me actually, like one row. So yeah, he'll be on. Yeah,
I guess we got to figure out the time zone thing and everything too.
I'm actually going to line up a lot out here. It's actually going to be pretty cool out here.
All right, good.
To do that, to walk up to people and say, hey, this is what we're doing type thing. So it'll be
perfect. Good. All righty.
All right, I'll talk to you guys.
See ya.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, we do have some interesting people.
Cool. No, while
what were you pointing at? You were like holding your, but what the fuck are you pointing at?
The Wallies.
What about them?
They weren't here the last time I was here.
No, because they were in a building like
Yeah.
in the one
Yeah.
filing cabinet or some shit.
No,
Maybe-
I understand it, but it is pretty cool to have.
Yeah, if you take a picture of them and the one cup or
Yeah, what Fudd is referencing is there's Wally sitting on top of each studio monitor here that I use for mixing
Yeah, no,
down
I,
the show.
I didn't know how to actually fill that in properly.
Yeah, that's all right. I
Okay.
mean, I brought them up from down the building. They were sitting down there, and I got a whole bunch of class winner trophies that were in the basement, and that were like, some very old class winner trophies, and they're just shot, because they were shot even at the old shop. Look, my father, he really didn't care about this stuff.
It was actually for anyone who showed up, and it was probably mostly for neophytes like me when I first went to the shop. Like, okay, plaque, Wally, picture, like the amount of shit your dad won.
Yeah, my dad was never the guy looking for recognition or anything. So these things, he did know their significance, and there were times that he would reference them, but he wasn't a guy that polished stuff. He's not a marble polisher.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, these are something that, to me, was an accomplishment of my pops. So
Yeah, no doubt.
I think they belong in here, and I think it's pretty cool that we can do a podcast with two actual legitimate Wallies sitting on top of speakers. So,
No, and I've got pictures. If they don't put them up on the Facebook, I will.
yeah, and Tom's little Dubai soda cans. All right, well, Tom does have some good guests planned for next year. We do have a caller here. We had one fake caller. We had Tom.
Well,
This is
it
the
wasn't
only-
a fake caller. It was just somebody breaking my stones.
Yeah, that's kind of classified as a fake caller. Are you a real caller, sir?
Yeah, yes.
What's up?
I just wanted to kind of comment on the sloppy mechanics thing. The whole reason why it works is the small block Chevy and a 32 Ford. It's kind of like a positive traction in a Plymouth. It just works.
Mhm.
How does it work? It just does. The LS is such a good base that it doesn't need much. I mean, besides the aluminum rods, they were kind of shitty, but everything else, it's just really good.
No, and that's kind of the conversation that Michael and I have had about this 5.3 setup. Nobody really has all the answers of why it's good. It's just a solid setup.
Well, and that's kind of where Tom and I kind of had a little bit of disagreement, because he was like, we need to put a good head on it, so we got to make the block a 3905 or whatever from 3780. And I'm like, listen, for whatever reason, this thing seems to last. I don't think I want to take 120 out of a bore and change the structural integrity of the block. And it might not mean anything. It might be fine. But if it works like it is, I mean, putting a little more stroke in it, I think I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah. No, and I might do a little blessing on the head, but I'm not going to go nuts, because you know what? I got a boost knob.
I don't even think I'd bother. I mean, Tom, like he said, we have certain advantages and certain things we can do, and we can accomplish them cheaper than normal. So, I mean, maybe some of the stuff you do, but I don't want to deviate too far off the package, because number one, you're putting parts into a piece of shit motor to begin with. And number two,
That's the main thing is a lot of guys, like, you look at forums on Facebook and shit like that. These guys have, I mean, there's some guys that have the means to literally pull out a brown manila envelope and drop it to their engine guy and say, make it fast. And that's been dirt racing, drag racing forever.
Yep.
The guys who have the money to just drop a big envelope and say, I need this much horsepower or whatever, make it really fucking fast, so that way it's good.
well, when I was talking about doing just a street car, the thing that was disturbing about it is I was more concerned about mannerisms, drivability, and it acting like the Corvette that it used to be mannerism-wise, but just have a lot more. With this,
So
I'm...
batteries and all that.
Yeah, all the good shit that happens with it, yeah. Yep.
Hey, man, my parents had 3 Corvettes at one time, and it was fucking battery tenders out the ass and extension cords and shit like that. So I know all the fucking problems.
Well, if you go back a whole bunch of episodes, you know that the 2001, the one that's probably going to be used for this, is sitting in the other side of the garage with no battery, because with the battery tender, that one almost caught on fire. The 2013 is sitting on the other side of the garage, and it is stone fucking dead, and there's not a thing plugged into it.
You're just having a bad week for batteries, aren't you?
I am.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
those fantastic C4s with that digital dash.
Oh Christ! No, his mom had. Oh, you had the same car. Yeah.
They're just garbage.
No. And what I always found funny was, Mike wants. Okay, I have a Corvette. It has to have the mannerisms of a Corvette. Like I bought a Barracuda.
Mhm.
You know what? An A-body Barracuda doesn't handle. There's no air conditioning. Has manual brakes. I'm making something that's going to be exactly like it was meant to be.
I like your thought. You're starting with shit, so how bad could it get? I got it. Now, I mean, so when we were talking about doing this as a street car, it was a little harder to justify spending the money because what I felt I needed to accomplish was going to be done with, like, say, the RHS block. You can ask Tom when Tom comes back. I said, look, if you can get me the RHS block, that's where we're going. And he's like, what are you, high? And I was like, well, no. I said, why not? If you're going to do this, do it right. But with this, to me, this drag week deal, there's a purpose. There's a goal. And I mean, yes, there's rules, albeit loose rules, but there's rules. And without rules, you can't have a game. So I will give up some mannerisms. I will give up some of the things that I was thinking about to accomplish, because now we're competing. And I like that much better. Much better.
Well,
Yeah.
I will tell you this much: as far as people saying that you need, and even your thoughts. Because I mean, I know you. Hey, if 400 inches is good, 440 is more good.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. But
More gooderer.
I want to build a twin 102 millimeter turbo 632 inch big block, but I don't have the money for it, so it's not happening. But the thing is like the guy that runs is the kind of the creator of Sloppy Mechanics. He has the Colorado, and it made 800 fucking horsepower on a stock bottom end 6-liter out of a van with an 80 millimeter made in China turbocharger and some injectors.
So it was like an eBay type turbocharger.
It's from VS Racing out of Texas. He's, as far as that shit goes, he's for budget stuff, he's really awesome. But he made 800 on E85 to the tire. So, through I think it's a 4L80E with, $100 shift kit in it.
Yeah.
And he installed it himself, and he did everything himself. It's fucking crazy, the amount of horsepower that you can make.
And that is one of the reasons why I think he'd be a good guy to have on, because it's great to have all the technical conversation. It's great to talk to ATI about, like Tad mentioned, the $20,000 trans, and Keith from Total Seal has piston rings that are $300 a piece for the tops, but not everybody is ever going to be in that area, and we're guys, a lot of us, doing it for ourselves.
Yeah, no, and no matter where we are now, whether it's through connections or having the money to pay for it, that's where we started. What is the cheapest way to go forward?
That's probably the most accurate point, because none of us, at least none of us in this room, were born with some kind of massive silver spoon where
Exactly.
we could be like, hey, I would like that car and I'd like that installed in it with that motor. It just didn't happen for us.
Well,
Yeah.
Mike, me and you have had this conversation on the air before. How was the old way of dirt racing?
Made it all yourself.
Junkyard, go to the junkyard, pull a small block out or a big block out, and get some fucking round tubing and weld the shit together. And nobody had a fucking plan. There was no grand scheme of where you could buy a frame and buy a small block from Larry Lombardo that cost $20,000. Which, don't get me wrong, it's worth it. I know people that run those motors. They're fucking worth it. But the problem is that the way it started was going to the junkyard and piecemeal everything together. And that's the one thing, like, when I was reading Matt's posts, from way back on Turbo Bullet and LS1 Tech and stuff like that, is his slogan and his thing is, give hot rodding back to the people, because it became a manufacturer's game of, where do you buy this from? Where do you buy that from? Well, I didn't buy it. I bought it from the fucking junkyard.
And yeah, and exactly what you're saying is very much like the dirt track guys, because see, people back then, they had to figure it out for themselves. There was nowhere to even go buy the shit if you wanted to. I mean, not everybody, obviously he knows, but not everybody realizes that like the dirt modified car that my brother races has a straight axle with kingpins in it. It's not A-arm. It's a straight axle with kingpins.
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But that's what they are.
I mean, it's related to a Pinto. I remember seeing Pintos and Gremlins.
It was international is what it started as. And, because they were taking the front ends out of these vehicles and that's what they were using, now we just have mass-produced parts to mimic the old parts. I mean, it is a straight axle kingpin front end. The old spindles that were on the thing that were steel, you could actually buy TRW bushings from something, whatever car it was, maybe a van or some shit, and put new bushings on them.
Yeah.
That's what they were.
That's great.
So, yeah, you're right. The people like the sloppy mechanic guy, those are the people that figured out a way to do it because they either A, couldn't afford it, or B, they just wanted to do it on their own. And so there's something to be said about that. And I think a lot of people will enjoy, hearing the things that can be done on a budget with little or no money.
Yeah,
wait.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Aren't I the one that brought this all up?
Yeah.
So,
No,
anyway.
I think I've said
What do you
before.
want, a fucking pat on the back?
Fuck yeah.
I got a retard that can't get a swing set done. I got a guy over here who wants fucking compliments. Christ.
And don't get it wrong. Like, he's the technical guy. Like, as far as tuning in and stuff like that, like, he has a lot of tips and tricks that people don't, I mean, Mike, you had the advantage of growing up. Your dad did this shit. Your dad was into building motors, and that was his business. But, I started as a machinist as the young kid, growing up and, working in shops and always being the young kid. But I learned all my stuff from the old guys that were willing to share tricks. But I ran across a lot of people that were kind of fucking assholes, and they never wanted to teach you things.
Yeah.
So when you have this wealth of information that he puts out for nothing, and like his tuning classes and stuff like that, which, you pay for them, but for the amount of money, it's cheaper than a lot of other people, and he teaches you a lot of the same stuff. But like, when you have somebody that's willing to just give you all that information, I mean, that's a huge asset that anybody can use.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're going to get him on, and I think that I really want to focus with him on the tuning stuff because that's an aspect that all this stuff has to have tuning to be able to accomplish what they're trying to do because obviously the GM PCM didn't come set up to make 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah, no, I'm not driving a 245 horsepower van motor.
Yeah.
I'm looking for more.
Well, you can convert it over to mass air, and you can make a lot of power on a stock computer.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I'm sure he's going to talk about. I'm sure he does aftermarket stuff, but if guys are really trying to do it on the cheap, I bet you can get GM PCMs cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the problem is you still have to pay for dyno time if you want to do this stuff, which is money.
They did an awful lot of shit before there were dynos, Ted.
Yeah, street dynos. By your seat of the pants.
Yeah, but what I'm telling you is, what do you think they did before there were chassis dynos? People still had to do this stuff.
I mean, hey, we did stuff when I was younger. We did stuff with small block boards where you hook up an air-fuel ratio gauge and you drive around and you just throw some more, fuel pressure to it, or you get bigger injectors, or you do a bunch of stuff, but you never really remapped anything all that much because the computer wasn't there. And
well, the dyno stuff has made a lot of this more possible. So, I mean, if the guy's got a dyno, that's a big help. But what I'm saying is, I mean, I don't know. I guess Tab brought up, well, you got to have a dyno, but you don't have to have a dyno. A lot of people did this without dynoing, and it could certainly be done. Especially with the data logging capability that everything has now.
He's made videos showing people how to street tune and drive around and show what you're looking at and stuff like that.
Well, I'm gonna check out some of his videos over this week, and we'll have him on for like the first part of this next week.
Yeah, but you got the biggest problem. You don't have proven dyno numbers, so you can go and bench race online and tell everybody how you're going to beat them when you're not gonna.
Well, that's another thing that he always rants about, which is hilarious. Is guys that'll say that I have 1,200 horsepower or something like that. That's what it made on the dyno, but I ran 860s, or I ran like 940s at 140, and on his dyno his one friend Mark has a LS swap Mustang, and it made 1,000 horsepower and went 780. You know, and on a lot less power, and it's a small tire car. It's not a big tire, big money thing. It's just done cheaply.
Yeah. Well, we'll go over all of it with him and all different things he's got. I think it'll be good, and so we'll get it worked out.
Character.
Yeah. Well,
He's a sarcastic character.
that's what I've heard. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling.
All right, man.
See ya.
Later.
We have good listeners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. I'm one of them usually.
I want to point out one thing
Mm-hmm.
in a closing note. Fudd,
Yes, sir.
when we were discussing doing an automotive podcast,
Mm-hmm.
what was your number of people that you thought would be listening?
A couple of hundred. I know. All
right. Well, this is Power and Speed. We'll be
Hooray
back
for Power and Speed.
Monday night next week. I guess it's either going to be Todd's guy or Tom's mystery guest.
No.
But we will see.
And thanks for having me.
You're welcome, Alan.
And like us on Facebook and iTunes.
Very good, Todd. See you next time.